Hi, welcome to another episode of What Else, the podcast where we dive into the minds of creative peers, exploring their journeys with the hopes of discovering new connections and inspirations. I'm your host, Els Lavinia, and in our last episode, we talked about the motivation behind starting this podcast, and we have already invited a few people for our upcoming episodes, and we will be recording our first guest episode by next week. But for now, it's just you and me again, dear listener, and I just want to share something I stumbled upon: the shiny object syndrome. After posting the first episode, I went about my day and, listened to my usual roster of podcasts. And one of the recent episodes of Chase Jarvis Live podcast caught my attention. It was all about this.
Shiny object syndrome.
It's that tendency we all have to chase after the next big thing, whether it be the latest gadget, the latest tool, or the latest trendiest idea that promises to revolutionize or transform the way we work. I have to admit, I am very guilty of falling into this trap, because as creatives, as creators, we often get caught up in pursuing these shiny objects that we lose sight of our goals, and we use them as excuses for not starting or finishing what we can already accomplish with what we have. This really made me reflect on something I mentioned in our first episode, where the main reason why we couldn't commit to doing a podcast for over a decade was perhaps that we were already in that trap of chasing that shiny object. We were overwhelmed with all the ideas and projects, but we lacked the clarity and focus to really finish and see them through. So, how can we overcome this shiny object syndrome? Overall, we can embrace the mindset of done is better than perfect. Here are a few actionable steps we can take to help us with that mindset. First off, we need to embrace imperfections. We need to realize that nothing is ever perfect, and chasing perfection is actually holding you back from moving forward and making progress. We need to really realize the fact that mistakes are part of our creative journey, and overall, taking action or taking imperfect action is better than taking no action at all. Second thing we can think about is we have to set realistic goals. We need to break down our projects into smaller, much more manageable and achievable tasks, so that when we do complete that small task, it gives us a sense of fulfillment where we achieve something. And with that, the third thing is we celebrate those achievements, the progress that we have made. That way, it brings us closer to our ultimate goal. It builds the momentum to motivate us to keep going. Again, done is better than perfect. Embrace imperfection, set realistic goals, and celebrate your progress. Do you have stories of chasing or experiencing that shiny object syndrome? How did you escape? We'd love to hear from you. One quote from the Chase Jarvis show that really struck a chord with me was his call to action of, go do something this week. I don't care if it's the right thing, but just do a thing. Focus on it and finish it. That line really made a big impact on me, with the timing of it all, with me finally pushing through with this project, It was something that I really needed to hear at that moment to help me with this path I'm taking. Overall, it's a really powerful reminder that taking action holds far more value than endlessly chasing or seeking the perfect path. Before I wrap up this episode, I just want to express my sincere gratitude to all of you, dear listeners. The positive reaction and feedback from the first episode was, you know, surprising and really motivating. I was not expecting that, and it has truly been, heartwarming. And with that, I think we have reached the end of today's episode. I hope you found value in our discussion, and I highly recommend you go take a listen to the Chase Jarvis podcast as well, and you might get more lessons that I missed. So let's just remember that instead of getting caught up chasing perfection, let's just get things done. Thank you for joining us on another episode of What Else? Your support means the world to us. If you're enjoying our podcast, please consider subscribing on your preferred platform. And if you found value in our episode so far, we would be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to rate, leave a review, and share the podcast with others. Your feedback and engagement means the world to us. Stay creatively curious, keep taking action, and I'll catch you on the next episode of What Else?